So we are in chapter A5 of Sefer Shmuel Aleph. So last time we saw the the defeat of Am Israel in the battle against the Philistine. Am Israel believed that the fact that they are bringing the ark is good enough to win the war, even though their actions weren't the right way, right? They didn't behave in the right way to be deserved to the divine help. So just trusted in the object. The fact that we have the ark is good enough, which is not true, as was proved in the last chapter. Also, there is the sin of the sons of Eli, that it was part of the punishment. But the result of the battle, of the war, another result of the war was that the ark was taken by the Philistine. Now, this is a problem. I just tell you the story generally that we're going to see in the next two chapters. This chapter is very short, and then another chapter after that speak about the same issue, which is what's happened to the ark when it was in the hands of the Plishtim. So we're going to see how there started to be punishments against the Plishtim, until in the end they return the ark. So this is generally the story. There are punishments that are going harder and harder and harder. Very similar. There are many, many similarities between this story and the plagues of Egypt. We are going to see there are some words that are similar, there's some ideas that are similar. And many times when you have stories that has the same words or the same terms, it's try to allude to each other, that you should learn from that to this and from this to that, because there is some kind of connection between these stories. So the ark is in the hands of the Plishtim. It is a problem because it's what we call Chilul Hashem. It looks like, and that's what the Plishtim believed, that the God of the Plishtim is stronger than the God of Am Israel. And this is not good. But I would ask here a question. Why do we even care? Why do I care what the Plishtim think? They can think whatever they want. Made Avon as. Okay, so maybe the problem is that also Am Israel will believe that. Okay, but if again we compare it to the story of the plagues of Egypt, it looks like the plagues were to teach Am Israel that Hashem is a God, but also to teach Paro. It always say, Leman yidu Mitzrayim, so the Egyptians would know also. We can see from that what the Goyim think is matter. It does matter. It's not something that we don't care about. And this is, I mean, even though it goes against the Goyim in this case, it's also in the favor. Because if you don't care about someone, because it's not important to you. But if you care about what someone think, is because is important to you. His opinion matter for you. So we can see from that we care about what the Goyim think, and that the name of God among the Goyim is also something that should be sanctified and not profaned. Profane. Okay, so this is important to understand. That is why maybe all this story. It's a very unique story in the Bible in the aspect that it's concentrated in something that's happened outside Am Israel. Most of the Bible, 99%, is what's happened to Am Israel. Here is one of the cases which is not what's happened to Am Israel, what's happened outside Am Israel. And it's similar to the story of Parashat Balak, when we read, even though there it's very, very connected to Am Israel. So Balak, it's also, we are putting the focus on something that is happening without even maybe the awareness of Am Israel. Am Israel doesn't know what's going on between Barak and Bilam and all the curses, etc. So the Torah tells you something that happened outside Am Israel, and here also something that started outside Am Israel, that's happening outside Am Israel, and is important, first of all, like I said before, because the image of God in the eyes of the Goyim, but also because of the image of God in the eyes of Am Israel. So we also learn from that the power of God, because again, the same wrong thought that the Plishtim had, also Am Israel could have had. Meaning that our God lost, chas v'shalom, to the gods of the Goyim. Okay, so it's also something that we should understand that it's not true. And here also we start a story that it's going to take a long time to close about the place of the ark. So it's only will be closed in the day of David HaMelech, when David HaMelech brings back the ark to Jerusalem in Sefer Shmuel Bet. So this is the beginning of a story and the journey of the Aaron. We can say the ark is not in his place for many, many generations. It's going wandering around in the world. Even when we have tabernacle, Mishkan, the Aaron is not in the right place, only until the days of David HaMelech. We will see about that. So now let's, after all this introduction, let's start the chapter. The first verse. It says, when the Plishtim captured the ark of God, they brought it from Even Ezer to Ashdod. So Even Ezer is a place where the battle was, and Ashdod was one of the 5 cities of the Plishtim. Apparently, in this moment, it was the most important city of the Plishtim. I read another verse and then I will explain something. So the Plishtim took the ark of God and brought it into the temple of Dagon, and then set it up beside Dagon. So the temple of Dagon is the main temple of the Plishtim, of their god. And they taking the ark of God, of Am Israel, and putting it in front of Dagon. Dagon, according to Chachamim, comes from the word dag, fish, because he had a form of a fish. It makes sense because, as we say, the Plishtim came from the sea. They came across the sea. That's the reason they're called Plishtim, invaders. Liflosh is to invade. So they came from the other side of the sea. So we guess they knew how to build ships, etc. And their god was in the sign of a ship. So they are bringing the ark to Ashdod and then to Bet Dagon. Bet Dagon is the same place as Ashdod. Apparently, it was near Ashdod. It was the main temple near Ashdod because after that, we're going to see that they are going to bring it to Ashdod. So we understand that it wasn't in the beginning of in Ashdod, it was in Bet Dagon, and they put it there. Why did they put it there? We can say two opposite reasons, and this is actually machloket in the Talmud between Rabbi Yochanan and Resh Lakish. Rabbi Yochanan said that they brought it there to humiliate it, to say, this God, the gods of the Jews, lost to our God. And this is start to teach us how they thought, what they were way of thinking of the religious or their beliefs about how the reality of the gods work. There are different kind of gods, very similar to what we know from the Greek mythology, right? So there are different gods, they are fighting between each other. Sometimes this is stronger, sometimes the other stronger. We should humiliate the other gods in order to be close to our God, that he will give mercy for us, and winning in the battle represents winning in the divine battle. So they are taking it there to humiliate the God of Israel. This was the opinion of Resh Lakish. Opinion of Rabbi Yochanan, it was to respect it. And again, it's the same way of thinking. We have different gods. This God lost this war, but we should still respect him because he's God. Okay, we shouldn't. So we put him in our holiest place. Okay, so you're going to be second to Dagon. You're going to be third to Dagon. But he's still in the temple. We know that also Jews, also in the Torah, we see that important objects are brought to the temple. For example, we have Hashem ordered Moshe to put one jar of man near the ark to remember. And the staff of Aaron that flourished in the Parashat Korach, there was a test who is going to be the Kohen, and they put the staff, and the staff of Aaron had flowers. Also, they put it there. And we're going to see later that the sword of Goliath, that David killed Goliath and took his sword, also they put it in the ark. So we can say that putting something in the temple, it's not necessarily to humiliate it, but to respect it. Okay, so Rabbi Yochanan said was respected. Resh Lakish told him if it was to respect, why were they punished? As we're going to see, they're going to be punished. And he said, no, it was to humiliate. Anyway, be it one way or another, we started to understand the concept of a system of gods of the Plishtim that that fighting between each other and each one of them has powers. And now, early the next day, the Ashdodites, the people of Ashdod, found Dagon lying face down on the ground in front of the ark of the Lord. So what it is, it's the first step. We know also in Egypt, the first plague was against the god of the Egyptians, right? The blood the Nile was the god of the Egyptians. So in the beginning, usually it's against the god, but here we're going to see all this chapter, the punishments or the actions of God can't be interpreted as an accident, as a random thing. Sometimes things fall down, right? It's not something that necessarily means something. So that's what they did. They picked Dagon up and put him back in his place. So even though the Mefarshim say that the fact that he lay down, face down in front of the ark should show something. And they say that it wasn't natural. Just you didn't put them one in front of the other, one in front. You put it near him, near the Dagon, right? And then he fall in front of him, meaning he moved, or someone moved it. They still say, no, apparently it's an accident, kept everything in secret, apparently. Nobody should say anything, and everything continue as usual. But early next morning, Dagon was again lying prone on the ground in front of the Ark of the Lord, but this time it was even worse. It's a gradual process of punishment. The next level is the head and both hands of Dagon were cut off, lying on the threshold. Only Dagon's trunk was left intact. So I forgot to say, I said that Dagon is apparently from the name Dag, fish, but it was like what we call the Sirenids, how do you say, those in the half human, half, what? Mermaid? Mermaid, yeah. Mermaid. Yeah, so the down part was of fish, and the upside was of a human. So the head and the two hands were cut and put it on the how do you call it? Threshold? Threshold. Only the Dagon trunk was left intact. So this is very hard to deny that something is happening here. How would it and be interpreted by the believers of Dagon? Something is happening. So first of all, we should be aware that the God of Israel also has powers. So maybe we should be careful. Or maybe Dagon is testing us. Or still maybe it's accident. Something happened, earthquake, I don't know, and it fell down and it was cut. And so they still have different ways to interpret that. And what are they doing? They say, here we have like a comment in parentheses. This is why, to this day, the priest of Dagon and all who enter the temple of Dagon do not tread on the threshold of Dagon in Ashdod. So these are the laws. If you want to be a priest of Dagon, you should know the law. You shouldn't step on the threshold. Why is this information important for us? Again, we should understand maybe, so Dagon passed his power to the threshold or threshold. Yeah, for some reason. Or maybe it's want to be disrespectful to Dagon to step on something that he fell on it. Why is it important to say until this day, to this day? What day? Today? No, we guess the day that this book was written by Shmuel or by God or by Nathan, according to the tradition, as we said in the beginning, there are three people that participated in writing the book of Shmuel. Shmuel himself, God, and Nathan. Since this was in the life of Shmuel, apparently it's Shmuel himself. So Shmuel say until today they are not stepping on the I will use the Hebrew word, miftan. You should learn this Hebrew word. So the priests of Dagon do not step on the miftan. Why? Why to say that it's until today? We can see that all what's happened later and here, even though they came to believe that the God of Israel has power, they didn't change the religion or the belief. They didn't start to say, so Dagon is nothing, it's just a lie. It's until today they are keeping the laws, meaning they're keeping their idolatry until today. They weren't converted to Judaism for some reason. Because again, my God sometime will win your God, and sometimes your God will win. Depends maybe in the sacrifice if we give him enough power, or if we serve him enough good enough, or I don't know, maybe just wake up in this morning in the wrong side or something like that. So but the belief still, it's very hard to change the concept of idolatry. When you see the world in a certain way, when you see the world, all your way of seeing the world, it's very hard to change it to something totally different. The concept of one God against the concept of system of powers, gods, angels, whatever, it's something that is very hard to do. And we can say that we didn't purify from it until today, as humanity. We didn't purify from believing in different powers that manage the world. To understand that everything comes from one God, it's something that it's very hard to understand. Till now, it's only, I would say, symbolic punishments. Nobody got hurt. Only the heart of the priest that saw the gods falling down, but nobody got hurt. I also want to say, it says that the Ashdodim came to Dagon. So in verse 6, here is the next day, the Ashdodim, the people of Ashdod, found Dagon lying face. So apparently, again, like I said before, this is the proof of what I said. Beit Dagon wasn't in Ashdod, it was near, but the people of Ashdod, it wasn't a separate place. The people of Ashdod were the people who came every day to serve. The priest lived apparently in Ashdod, coming to the, I don't know if it was the next street, like here, like I have, but they came to every morning, early morning to serve their God, and it is near Ashdod. So after their God was treated by our God in the right way, they still didn't change the behavior. They still kept the ark. I don't know if in the temple, near the temple, they didn't return it to Am Israel. So Hashem go harder. The hand of the Lord lay heavy upon the Ashdodites, and he wrought havoc among them. Havoc is this disease?
No, troubles. What's the troubles?
Troubles?
Chaos.
Chaos. He struck Ashdod and its territory with hemorrhoids. How do you say?
Hemorrhoids.
Hemorrhoids. This is a disease. It's not a nice disease. So if it's really it, you can see in Hebrew it says afolim and chorim. And what is the meaning of that? So first of all, it's not sure that this is the really meaning of the word. The main question against the simple interpretation is that next chapter we're going to see when finally the Plishtim are going to return the ark, they are going to bring idols made by gold as a present to the God of Israel. And they say that they bring 5 idols of Chorim and 5 idols of mice. So apparently there was mice also as part of the punishment, but how can you bring idol of Chorim, of hemorrhoids? What, I mean, the organ? I don't know, it would be insulting to bring such an idol, no? Well, what does it mean exactly to bring idol? So some say that it was some kind of a bag of animal, maybe something that bite you or something like that. Chachamim say, combination, because again we see that they brought mice. He doesn't speak about mice as a plague, but Chachamim say also something that sounds a little bit strange. They used to go to the washroom in the field. There wasn't washroom in the house, so they say the mice came and bite them, and all their inside part were going down outside. What does it mean, all of that? So we can understand also main point here is humiliation. It's the most humiliated way to suffer or to die if a mice bite you and you're just pouring out from this side, right? So it's a very humiliating situation, and also mocking, like mocking you, right? Making a joke out of you. And again, if you think that you should humiliate the God of Israel, you will be humiliated back. So this is maybe the message of all of that. Anyway, we are starting to have plagues against the body, like again, like in the plagues of Egypt. And also here we start seeing words that are similar to the words of the plagues. Yad Hashem, Inei Yad Hashem Oya B'miknecha. We saw in the 10 plagues, says the hand of God hitting your flock. and other stuff. So we see that there are similar words. It's the same. It's a process of education of a nation that thinks that doesn't recognize the greatness of God. Paro said, I do not know who is God. And also the Plishtim thought that they can, that the God is superior to the God of Israel. Now, can it be explained in a natural way? Yes. It's still not, it's not like, I don't know, the plague of blood, when you see changes in nature. Here, everything can be explained in a natural way. The question, if you are connecting the points, can you recognize the fact that everybody start to be sick is because the ark, or you say, no, it's not connected to each other. Again, I don't know even if the priest told the people what's happened to their God, to their idol. Did everybody know? It maybe I guess that the rumors went out, even if they tried to block it, the rumors went out. So people start to understand it's not randomly, it's not by accident. Something is going on here. So when the men of Ashdod saw how matters stood, they said, the ark of the God of Israel must not remain with us, for his hand has dealt harshly with us and with our God Dagon. So they now have to decide what to do. They can return the ark. No, it's not still what they want to do. They thought, so they sent messengers and assembled all the lords of the Plishtim. The structure of the government of the Plishtim was that there were 5 cities, and each one of the cities has the lord of the city. It's called Seren, Sarne Plishtim in Hebrew. And there was like a common government, some kind of house of the lords. And later in the times of David, we see that they're starting to have kings. But there were different tribes, like we said, different tribes that came from the other side of the sea, from Greek and from Italy, from these places, and each one of them established settlement, and they ruled together. All of them together were called Plishtim, in plural, right? It's a nation, usually it's called in this singular. Plishtim, it's plural, meaning there were different nations that were coming together. So they gathered all these lords of the Plishtim and asked, what shall we do with the ark of the God of Israel? They answered, let the ark of the God of Israel be removed to Gat, other city of the Plishtim. So they moved the ark of the God of Israel to Gat. What would it help? Sometimes, well, our God in Ashdod maybe has some kind of weakness. Maybe Gat is going to be stronger. Or maybe there is a problem in Ashdod that the God of Israel has power while in Gat no. And I would say Ashdod is near the sea and Gat is a little bit more inside the country. So maybe the power comes from the sea, because you know that the sea of, they knew all the story of the Exodus. So you know that the God of Israel divided the sea, he turns the water to blood. So maybe he has some kind of strength near the sea, while the battle was in Even Ha'ezer, far away from the sea, so maybe we can win them. Maybe there we're going to be stronger. So they decided anyway, and again, it's the same way of thinking that there are different gods, different powers, and we should try to navigate in this system of gods and power. So let's move the ark to Gat. So it didn't work, and the plagues going harder and harder. So, and after they moved it, the hand of the Lord came against the city, causing great panic. So before, it doesn't say it causing great panic, causing problems. Here it's great panic. Not only that, it strikes the people of the city, young and old. Mikatan v'ad gadol. It's not young and old in Hebrew, what it says, from the youngest to the oldest, meaning all the people of the city. Apparently in Ashdod it was partly. In Gad, it's getting worse. It's a big panic, a great panic, and all the people of the city. And then it used also another word. So the hemorrhoids broke out among them. It doesn't say broke out. Again, it uses word that it's not very clear what it means in Hebrew. Va'istaru, vaisatru. Isatru or isatru is similar to the word seter, hidden. And all the Mefarshim said it was deeper inside the body. It was like hidden place when it's much harder. You cannot take care of that. You cannot relieve the pain. It's inside the body. So we see 3 aspects that it was worse. First of all, it was a big panic. Second, all the people of the city, and the plague itself was deeper. Okay, so it was harder and more painful. Now the people of God do not even ask. Not like the people of Ashdod, they gather all the people and what to do, etc. They were panicked, they just send away. Now to the 3rd city. How many? I said there are 5 cities. So the 3rd city is Ekron. So the people of the city, send the ark of God to Ekron. The other two cities are Gaza, and Ashkelon. These are the 5 cities of Plishtim: Ashdod, Ashkelon, Gaza, Gat, and Ekron. All of them in the south of Israel, but towards the mountain. So it's all this from the beach to the mountain. This is basically the zone of the Plishtim. So they are sending it to Ekron.
Ekron is where Eliza and Eitan's wedding was.
Yeah, well, so this is the modern Ekron. Apparently, it's nearby.
Yeah.
Apparently, but we don't know for sure where these cities are. There are different opinions. Anyway, they send it to the third city. So then, but when the Ark of God came to Ekron, the Ekronites cried out, "They have moved the Ark of the God of Israel to us to slay us and our kindred." Kindred? So they don't accept it. Why? And then again, they too sent messengers and assembled all the lords of the Plishtim and said, "Send the ark of the God of Israel away and let it return to its old place." Now they are thinking about returning to Israel, that it may not slay us and our kindred. For the panic of death pervaded in the whole city. So we can see here the next level. The next level, which is the final level, similar to the Makat Bechorot, to the firstborn plague, people dying. It's not only the God, it's not only uncomfortable to go to the washroom, it's not only deep suffering. Here, people start dying. And when people die, this is like the final plague, and they understand we must return the ark. For the panic of death pervaded the whole city so heavily that the hand of God fallen there.
It's near the problem.
Yeah. And the men who did not die were stricken with hemorrhoids. They were stricken with hemorrhoids. So the outcry of the city went up to heaven. Shamayim. Shamayim can be sky. What does it mean went up to heaven? We can understand it was very strong. But it reminds us the verse that we see again in Shmot of Am Yisrael. Vatal shavatam el Elokim min ha'avodah. Shav'a, outcry here translated, is one of the words related to prayer. So they start prayer to the God of heaven. Again, we understand, again, they just cry very, very hard until the sky. Or we can understand, well, we believe in Dagon, but we see here that the God of Israel is very angry. We should also pray for him. We should cry to the heaven when the God of Israel comes from. Okay, and this is again the mix of beliefs of different gods. And they say we must find a solution. All the things that we are doing are not working, and and we see how gradually it was worse and worse and harder until they decided that they should send the ark away to Am Yisrael. I won't start the next chapter, just the first verse, and then we will finish for today. It says, the ark of the Lord remained in the territory of the Plishtim 7 months. Meaning all what we just read about the God and about the plagues, etc., and moving from city to city, it wasn't one day. It wasn't 7 months. It's a long, long process, again, of understanding that it's not random. At least changing the concept, the ideology in this aspect, it's a big change. Let alone to leave all the belief of the system of gods. So until they recognize that the God of Israel has power and they better do something about it, the past 7 months, or I mean, maybe a little bit less, because then 7 months, it's all the time that the ark was in the Plishtim until they return it. We're going to see next chapter how they returned it, but we are quite close to that. So I don't know, maybe the story with the gods, it looks like it happened in the next day. They brought it, in the next day, the god fell, in the next other day, it was cut. But the process of the illness, of the plagues, this took longer. So maybe gradually people start to be sick, and then more people start to be sick until they understood the problem. They moved it to the other city, people will start dying, and they move it to the third city. Each one of these stories happened I don't know, during a month or 2 or 3, until 7 months, they arrive at the conclusion, we must return. We cannot play around with the God of Israel. We'd better return it to Am Israel.
Rabbi, I have a question.
Yes.
In Israel today, modern Israel, modern Ivrit, do they call the Palestinians Plishtim now?
No, we call them Palestinians, but the word Palestine originally came from Plishtim. The story, I mean, it's very famous, everybody knows. The Jews in Eretz Israel were doing revolts against the Romans once and again, always. And in the last revolt, the Veld Bar Kokhba, in 132-35, the Romans had enough. And they were really cruel. They killed many people. And they did big changes. In one of the changes, they changed the name from Yehuda to Palestine. Why? Why Palestine? It's come from Plishtim. They say no, it's not it's not Yehuda of the Jews of Yehudi. It's the land of the Palestinians because it belongs to them, so it would be Palestine. And this is how this word created and then was used during the history. Is this change that the Romans did to the name of the country?
But they don't call them Plishtim now.
No, it was in Palestinians or just Arabs, Arabs.
Well, you call them Plishtim because they didn't come from the Plishtim, they came from other parts.
Yeah, they didn't know that detail, so it was a mistake. It's the invaders, the land of the invaders.
Thank you, Rabbi,
Yeah,
and
thank
thank
you.
you, Joe and Phil, for the